Before we conclude the session, we'd just like to quickly review what we have studied thus far in this session as well as in the past sessions, just as a quick review of what we have already took. From the very beginning, we'll start from the very beginning. It's going to be quick. The last few minutes of the course, we're just going to quickly review what we have taken so far. Beginning of the course, we studied the dal, the ra, the sin, the noon. So I'm just gonna kind of quiz you. I'd like you to write down the letter dal, the ra, the sin, and the noon, to make sure you still have them in your head, and they should be still in your head because we use them all the time. So go ahead and write the dal, ra, sin, noon. We also studied the waw, so go ahead and write down the letter waw. We also studied the letter ya. Write down the letter ya in its standard form as well as in its connecting form. We studied the short vowels, so go ahead and write down the short vowels. Write down the fatha, what it looks like, the dhamma and the kasra. Go ahead and do that. We went through the sukoon. Go ahead and write down what is a sukoon, what it looks like, and what it does. We went through a lot of practices and assignments and dictations. In lesson 2, we went through the letter ba, so go ahead and write down the letter ba, the letter ta, the letter kaf, the letter mim, so go ahead and write those letters. Just trying to review, get your head reviewed to what we have taken thus far. You should also keep in mind the sounds each letter makes. If you want, you can write the sound along with the letters you're writing down. You should write down the 4 forms of the meme. Obviously, this is not a quiz or anything. I'm not going to give you the answers because we're not doing a quiz. It's just a review. I'm just trying to let you review. In the last few minutes that we have in this session, I'm just trying to, use it wisely. In lesson 3, we took the letter fa, shin, and kha. Go ahead and write those 3 letters down in their standard form as well as in their connecting form, and you can write down the sound that each letter makes. Just reviewing what we have studied. We also studied in that session the double lesson 3 of the book that we're using. In lesson 3 of the book that we're using, we studied the double consonants, which is called the shidda. You can go ahead and write that term down and write what it does and what is the shidda and what it looks like. In lesson 4, we studied the lam. We went through the waw in its other sounds that it makes, so go ahead and write down the lam, the waw, the 3 sounds the waw makes. Go ahead and write that down. We also took the ya in that session, in that lesson, lesson 4. We studied the ya, taking the 3 forms that the ya, the 3 sounds rather, the 3 sounds that the ya makes, so go ahead and write that down. We also studied the hamza. Go ahead and write down what is the hamza, what it does. And we also took tanween. So go ahead and write down the tanween and the sound that it does and what is it. So go ahead and write down the lam, the 3 forms of the waw. 3 forms meaning the 3 sounds that the waw makes, 3 sounds that the ya makes, and the hamza and the tanween. That's what we took in lesson 4. We also studied in lesson 4 the lam alif combination, when lam is followed by the alif, what it looks like in its standard form, and then what it looks like at the end of a word. So go ahead and write that down. And the reason we did that is we said to keep the flow of the writing smooth, because the lam, when it's in its connecting form, looks similar to the alif. So this is one of the reasons why the Arabs did this. Of course, we went through many dictations and assignments throughout these sessions and lessons. We don't have to review that. We're just trying to generally review the letters that we took thus far, the letters. Lesson 5, الدرس الخامس, which means lesson 5 in lesson 5, the lesson 5. We studied the letter za, the letter ta, the letter qaf, and the letter ayn. Go ahead and write those 4 letters down. Write down if they have a connecting form, or if they don't, write down their connecting form. I'll give you a review that the ayn has 3 connecting forms, just to keep that in mind. Write down the sound that each letter makes. Okay. So I just wanted to use the few minutes that we had left to review what we took thus far. In lesson 6, we studied the ha, the sad, and the alif maksura. Go ahead and write down the standard form of the ha, the connecting form. Also jot down or just write down the sad on your paper, the standard form of the sad, also its connecting form, and write down what the alif maksura is, what it looks like, and what it does. And then lesson 7, the one we're at now, we studied the thal, the jim, the ha, and the ta marbuta. Go ahead and write those down as a review of what we just took. Make sure you keep them in your head, the way the thal looks, if it has a connecting form or not, and I'll tell you it doesn't. The jim in its standard form, go ahead and write it down, and its connecting form, the sound that it makes. Go ahead and write down the standard form of the ha, the 3 forms of the ha in the beginning, in the middle, and the end of the word, and the sound that it makes. And go ahead and write down the ta marbuta. Actually, we didn't get to the ta marbuta yet, sorry. We'll do that next session. So just do the dal, the jim, the ha. I mean, when I say do, I mean just write them down, the standard form. We're just trying to review the letters we took. Just write down the standard form and the connected form, if any. Of course, we didn't do the ta marbuta yet, inshallah next class. So I just wanted to quickly review in the last few minutes that we had in the course. That would conclude this session. I mean, the last few